Welcome back to the action here live. The action in the Algarve, the party in Portimao. My name is Hannah Pendlebury and I am joined by my good colleague, the inimitable Mr. Tom Stiles here, bringing you action from the Women's Masters division. We have Great Britain in the red versus Germany in the white, both having played 4 games each. We'll get to the results for that shortly, but Katrina Ford picks up the disc and gets the offense in way for GB. Liza Bowen finds Alex on the sideline, puts it up into the hands of a tumbling Susanna Bidgood, one of the best Frisbee nicknames I've ever heard.
Great work from Great Britain. 4-5 passes into the end zone. Good start from this experienced women's line. The wind is going to be a big factor in this game, Hannah. It's coming in off the Atlantic, which is over to our right. You see a replay of that action.
And that's Alex Meisner finding Bidgood deep in the end zone. Good separation, but as you point out, Tom, currently the wind blowing from the right to the left of your screen, the sun beating down slightly towards our backs, so players facing towards your view of this field will be looking a tiny bit into the sun on those high hucks. We're about huck height here in our commentary perch, exposed to the elements. Tom, you're wrapped up nice and warm. I feel like I might be envying you towards the latter stages of this match.
Well, a few people have been caught out who've ventured into the commentary position. Quite how much difference the extra 4 meters of height we have. Great Britain throwing a big zone here.
Indeed, see Lasser swinging around the back. Gaddis, good work from the Russian offense right now. Nice and smooth, little pause as they continue to work through the zone. Well, we see a transition from GB. It seems to be now match person-to-person coverage. Workel knocking on the door of the end zone. A high shot going up. 2 players underneath it. Excellent defensive positioning there from the number 41, Rebecca Bobby Hay.
A little bit naive with the wind. You cannot throw a disc up that high with that much edge exposed to the squeeze. The breeze has died off a little bit, but I'm not talking much, and it's still going to cause problems. But that disc blown out of position.
So Cassie Seaborn will get us back underway as GB go upwind. The captain, Eliza Bob Clough, going to put it up into space. 2 red shirts underneath it. A miscommunication, but look at that. Macking along from the 27 shirt of Heike Schmanz.
Yeah, Schmanz doing what she shouldn't have done there, which was just mack away the D. Luckily, she was aware enough to eat up the ground and take the option away. Great Britain with another of these 3 women in the zone, closing down, trying to stifle the space.
So, nice containment from GB's zone, forcing an errant pass again over Schmanz, not able to get her hand to mack that one along at all.
Great Britain have had a couple of possessions here, and now they've got the disc at the halfway point, and that doesn't seem like a big deal, but this wind is going to be a factor in the game, and starting from halfway with the potential to score upwind is a big deal.
It is. We certainly saw that in the previous matches on this field. Upwind points are so important, especially breaks, of which this would be one. Early stages of this game. Seaborn up the line, but Clough chooses to throw a big fading backhand. Can High get to it? Just tumbles out of the hands as her cap falls from her head.
Apology hand raised from Becky.
Nice shot from Clough into the space, so Claudia Workel just tips off the fingers of the 43, Maria Caris.
Just look at the body language from all of these players, how tired they are after running around and chasing in this heat.
Yes, even though the wind is present, it's definitely warmer than it has been earlier on this week, this Wednesday, day 3 of play in Portimao, and that's a great little hand in the mixer from Schmanz as she rips deep. Disc is going to come. Well put, great shot there from Kulix. So that's Larsa. Gets low for her teammate, body to the ground. Keeping possession alive. Will she choose Werkel in the center? Clears her out, throws over the head of Werkel sprinting, and Schmans for the score.
Yeah, Melanie Larsa took a real blow from Becky Hagers. It wasn't deliberate at all. Becky was just trying to get position, but she didn't call anything because the position was good. Let the flow happen, took the disc down, and then a double-handed grab to keep it alive as well. Big contribution from her in that point.
Certainly, so that is one apiece. Everything going to serve thus far. GB currently with the advantage, with their O-line coming down with the wind at their backs, downwind. Let's have another look at that lovely piece of offense, throwing over through traffic. I'm not sure how she managed that one there, Tom.
Wiebke Schmans getting the block at the other end of the field as well, so very involved from her. And we saw Becky Haig for Great Britain.
Fun fact, Hayes actually German. She's originally from the opponent nation.
Oh, is she?
So I believe so.
I've got a fun fact about Becky as well. She was on our aeroplane as we flew over here to Portugal. And she told me that she's currently working as a wooden boat builder.
Yes, she was actually in my hometown when she was learning. It's a fantastic skill, an art even, very artisan, crafty player, as well as crafty in her professional life, as we see the disc go over the head of Anja Wiest. Another, I believe Anja is also German.
I'd be surprised if she wasn't with a name.
Certainly a Germanic roots for sure, as we see Kraft put into the middle to Katharina Malmde. The 87, Stephanie Sauer having a little chat with the mark. A little bit static from the Germans right now. Good snatch from Malmde. She's going to put an inside shot. That's lovely to make her harms. Back into Hoffman. She puts it up into space. A nice right-handed grab, snagging it out of the air from Stephanie Sauer.
Yeah, Sauer doing great work from Würzburg. She represented the Women's Masters in Royan for Germany in 2017 and eating up a lot of ground to take that disc. And the Germans looking really confident into the wind, not like Great Britain and not like the Germans were in the first time they faced that breeze. But it was steady, short passes. This last disc, maybe not quite as much spin as would normally be required, but it was perfectly balanced.
Yeah, just held it so nicely, didn't it, on the breeze. Really interesting to see the Germans actually using the inside backhand break. We've seen so many discs that are a full flick around releases, Tom, being taken away by the wind. So smart, wise choice from the Germans to choose to really step into the mark and release them nice and low, those backhands.
When you're throwing a forehand in that situation, the outside edge of the disc is a long way from your control, and it can wobble around, and that's why we've seen so many discs just flip up and get the underside shown to the wind. When you've got a backhand, you can wrap your hand all the way around the disc, and until that point of release, you've got full control. So you can really make sure that the angle of the disc is exactly what you intended it to be.
So we see Megan Hurst. Cheeky lefty inside for Cheska Tyler, but a little bit too far. Not sure Tyler had Tyler Weddell actually recently double-barreled that surname. Congratulations to you, Cheska. But a little bit too far for her, hadn't hit her full stride as we see the disc go out of bounds. Execution error from the Germans, disc back in the hands of GB.
And maybe picking up a little bit of a strain on the shoulder as well there, Claudia Vokel.
Big fakes from the lefty handler, Meg Hurst, and a tip of the disc from Maria Carries gets the block for her team.
See Vokel walking towards the disc again.
Trying to get your mouth around the with the umlaut. Vokel sticks her up on options upfield, chooses the up line, but sails out of the open hands of the 57, Maria Krumlov. Seaborn with the disc. Very experienced handler, many GB caps to her name. Canadian by birth, as we see Clough go to ground, reaching for it, but just hits the sand before she can get her claws around it.
I think Clough is looking so athletic out there. She needs better service, and she's going to be effective in that deep position. She can get free.
And that's a redemption bid from Schwans. Really making a difference, but a little bit too spicy into the hands of Maria Krubnov. Meg Hurst throws it to Bob. She's going to release that arm, launches it, but Cheska Tyler looking into the sky wasn't ready for that whatsoever.
Well, this isn't a bad play for Great Britain. The disc is so hard to move in this condition that just having that field position, but what they need to do now is put a really stifling defence on and work hard as a team to stop the options developing. Schwams is the real threat here.
Good move from the Germans. Finds central field position, looks for the pop, takes it. Not quite enough spin.
You see with that turnover, the passes the Germans are needing to make, they're not able to complete enough of them. Great Britain have now got the disc back and they've gained 40 yards. You know, it's not the most solid tactic, but it's working for them.
So Hurst to Seaborn has Sturt far sideline, goes to ground for a nice reaching right-handed grab, pops it up over the head of all the defenders, apart from Schwams, who seems just on fire so far this game. Weike Schwams, one score already, and I think that's her third block.
Yeah, she's been a force to be reckoned with, the player from Cologne. Down as an offensive cutter on her player information, but I think
yeah, she's not given that many secrets away.
She's devastating pretty much all over the pitch. She's had the speed and the awareness.
Good switching downfield from Great Britain right now. Finds Schwams, can she release? Doesn't go for the bid, just watches the disc topple into the sand between her feet.
If Great Britain do manage to punch it in, it's hard to say that they've earned it because it's all come from German errors, but they won't mind about that at all.
Well, they need to. The Germans just got that upwind break, as we see Clough reaching forward, and that's the upwind back for GB. Great celebration there, excitement all around, and they're going to need it to fire up their D-line.
I guess if you've got one team that's prepared to just send it and put on the D, and another team that wants to play intricate passing movements, in this wind, I would fancy the team that's prepared to send it and put on the D every single time. Great Britain profiting from German errors.
Be interesting to see, though, Tom, how that strategy works out later on in the game. If they're chasing down hucks that are a metre or 2 meters ahead of them, and then to suddenly find yourself in a crunch situation, you're going to wish you hadn't quite thrown so many if you need extra energy in your legs for perhaps a universe point finish. So these two teams finding the measure of each other, still very early days, 2 apiece. The Germans 1 break up. Conditions warm and breezy here in Portimao.
And Great Britain able to fully rotate the line. Fresh legs on there now, and a zone look.
So Kraft, Manda lacking for options, sends it back to Hesse. Harms, back into Hesse. This zone-style look from GB, causing all sorts of mischief for the 4 players back for the German side.
And they're not stretching it deep either. Here they go now with Harms taking a run towards the ocean.
And a big rip's gonna sit and hang. Poorly read by Bidgood, but great work from the Germans as we see Harms put it in front of Henschkunst.
You have to admire the way the Germans dealt with that Great Britain zone. They were patient, they swung the disc backwards and forwards. It's not easy in this tricky crosswind, downwind situation, and the big shot went up to Harms. She read it great, and then a quick pop into the end zone.
Smart adjustment there. We did see earlier on the point, big cluster, 4 white shirts, all within about half a meter of each other, but that's a big ripping backhand from Kraft. As I said, bit good court, perhaps, you know, taking a little snooze on the mark there. Not tracking really the disc at all. So that's 3-2 to Germany. As we already mentioned, 1 break up in this game, but all still very much to play for.
Yep.
So seeing the lineup for Great Britain's upwind offense, we have Clough and Hurst, 2 long-term players coming out of Brighton Ultimate, and that's a sensational hand block from Louise Hoffman. Can she get the bookends? She's going to the break side, and there we go. What a play from Louisa Hoffman.
Yeah, showing every single one of her 10 years of experience in the game of Ultimate, reading that, predicting that throw across the field, getting the hand down, and a hard cut up the full length of the beach to get there as well.
So that is a fiery bit of defense right there. And that's a 2nd break for the Germans. Let's have another look at that tasty piece.
Well, when Great Britain scored upwind, they really needed to score the following downwind point, and they couldn't. The Germans worked it around the zone and put in corresponding upwind point, but then they've done exactly what GB didn't do, which was capitalize on that with a downwind points of their own.
Indeed, gave themselves the hard job of having to just hold their own offense upwind. And we'll see if they can put together some good downwind. See a side stack from GB initially. Big disc going up to Emilia Cruz. Oh, she puts the hands up and goes for the bid, but no dice.
Can the Germans hold steady now, coming into the wind?
Well, Kairis on the disc, lovely little cheeky top knot slash bun there. Bristling in the wind. Krumnov working tirelessly is Kairis. Great mark from Cruz. Kipri. GB doing a great work of covering the underspace of the Germans, but better movement now. Krumnov holding onto the disc. High stall situation soon. She throws and goes, but the option upfield's chosen, but an errant disc unable to be reeled in by Jennifer Kurliks.
And as Kate Ford walks towards this disc, I just wonder which of the Great Britain players is going to go deep. Seems to be the tactic. Bobbing around is Meixner. She comes underneath eventually.
Cruz is in the deep space, but chooses Liza Bowen instead, who drops it far sideline.
Well, Germany have shown that they can play up the full length of the field against this Great Britain. So Great Britain not wanting to risk giving the disc back to them, but it just proves how hard every throw is.
A big disc from Lassa. Nearly into the face of Kipri. Good movement, all open side right now from behind. Upline cuts for days from the German side, and that's going to sit and hang directly into the reach of Sofia Kipri. What a play.
And that is a real knife blow from Germany. The 2nd upwind point and a timeout called by Germany.
By Great Britain.
Sorry, by Great Britain, yeah.
And that is unsurprising to see. 3 points on the trot for the Germans. And Captain Bob Clough is going to wisely take a timeout. I had an opportunity to have a chat to Elisa Clough last weekend, and she was saying about the goals of the GB side, and they basically wanted to execute them. They were quite a numerous number of goals in terms of, I obviously cannot remember exactly what they were, but it was along the lines of basically just hitting their systems, having fun, and sort of just playing with each other and within each other. So it's kind of, you know, they're playing their game. They are a talented team. Clough brings loads of experiences. You can hear her there, getting her team fired up, enthusiastic.
Yeah, and for the Germans, we've seen big contributions from Webke Schwams already. She's actually the stats leader for the German women's masters side.
Well, that comes as no surprise.
With 7 assists and 4 goals.
So at the ECBU, do you know what the German masters team were nicknamed? The Women on Fire. And I believe they took the gold medal in that tournament.
Women on Fire.
Women on Fire. A bit like I suppose that's a bit of a game, not Game of Thrones. What's the one with the?
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No. The movie series, the film and book series.
A Song of
Hunger
Fire
Games.
and Ice.
Hunger Games. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
It's not Game of Thrones. Something
Not Game
else.
of Thrones.
So the girl on fire. No, the women on fire. The German women's masters team. Great pull from the Germans. Several passes already for GB, barely out their own end zone, and Steph Balsis tries to reel that in, but just too far behind her from Haig. Short field for the Germans. Katharina Malda picking up the disc.
It's the pressure from the German defense there, forcing the turnover.
Malda surveys her options in the end zone, but a big old dump pass into the centre field. Hentkunt can't keep her hands around it. And another opportunity. GB given the disc back. Can they stem the bleeding that the Germans have caused? Seaborn crashing into the cup. Haig found, ready and waiting. Pops back to Hurst. Has options either side. Chooses to take Seaborn. Pops it back to Balsis. Good faking. Close little two-person cup in this zone from the Germans. Furious faking from all of the GB handlers. Nice give-go there. Oh, that's a lovely release point. Disc out into space for Haig. Floats beautifully. Weddle with the disc. And a pop in for Balsis. Celebrations for GB as they get another point on the board, give themselves a little bit of oxygen.
That was so much better from Great Britain. The combination handling in that tight cup from Germans, they just took what they were given, and eventually a great swinging sidearm across the field opened up the space, and using their opportunity, continuing the flow. So many times we've seen Great Britain have to make 3 or 4 passes in flow. They then get stifled by the German defense, but they kept the disc moving here. Haig with a little pop off, straight to Cheska, Tyler Weddle, and into the end zone.
Yeah, that was perfect, though. You have to give an enormous amount of credit there to Cassie Seaborn, who threw a flick across the field, across the face of the wind, that just sat so perfectly into the space where none of the defenders were, but already waiting Becky Haig was. Some of the fans in the stands there, enjoying the sunshine and the wind. As the Germans O-line now gets back to work.
More of an arrowhead zone here. Rachel Kelly leading the charge for Great Britain.
Yes, in the orange cap. Very large stature player, big wingspan. GB now transition back to person coverage quite quickly. Larsa up to Schwanz. Back to Larsa. With luminous under coverage through her shirt. A big overthrow notched up by Katrina Ford. Cruz opens up the arm, has Kelly, attacks it early with the defender breathing down her neck, but a misread.
I'm still totally okay with that as a tactic. You know, the Germans have just made 9 or 10 passes, they've run around hard, and now they find themselves within 10 seconds of losing the disc back on their own end zone line. It didn't come off that deep shot from Great Britain, but they've done the damage.
So, back in play upwind. Curtis Nice low inside break. A little tumble from Kipri. Schwanz. Batalasa. Harms getting involved.
Big bid from Cruz.
Not many upfield options for Schwam. She's going to have to dump it back. She does. Chooses not to swing to the weak side of the pitch. Great upfield coverage from GB, giving no options really. Lassa looks off Schwams in the central section. Kipri. Back across. Thinks about the inside. This is nice conservative swinging between the handlers, just patiently waiting for their teammates' efforts upfield. As we see it go, up it goes. Heavy contact there between Werkel and Ford.
Yeah, hard pressure from both the sides, and I think that contact, and they're having a chat about it.
Werkel's calling a foul. She made the hand signal above her head. Let's have another look at that one.
Disc from Kipri. Kate Ford coming from a little bit behind the player. It was hard for her to make a clean bid. There was no players discussing this at some length. All very happy, and they agreed to contested foul.
Yeah, it was a close play. You've got to go in for those discs. As you say, Ford coming a little bit from behind, but everyone happy for that to go back into the hands of Sofia Kipri. This will come in on 4.
Yeah, ultimate totally self-refereed sport, the players making those decisions.
Looks to the around, doesn't find it. Wind getting involved as the 6th member of the defence, but Schwans punches it into her teammate Claudia Werkel. First stat on the board.
And Webke Schwams so alert, so aware. She had to scuttle back quickly across the sand to get herself into position as that disc got caught in the wind. And then the presence of mind to punch in a really flat, steady chest-height backhand. Impressive play from the 27 shirt, proving again such an effective player for this German women's masters side.
There we see the throw just kept taken away by a gust, but poise from Schwams. Such a key part of this squad for Germany.
You know, the Germans, if the disc had caught in the air, people would have felt sorry for the handler and completely understood if it was a turnover. But Schmann says, no, we can still get this point, and a quick reaction, catch, and a shot into the end zone from her. Germany in a really strong position now, having just taken the upwind point. They're coming down on defense as the wind is probably the strongest it's been throughout this game. And a great pull as well, right at the back of the end zone.
Yes, indeed. So Clough getting to work into Hay. Looks for Clough. Oh, great work. Nice aggressive positioning from the handlers. Clough's going to open it up, but just tumbles to the feet of Sturt, who didn't really ever have a good look at it. Great defensive positioning from Klaft.
Hey, this seems to be GB's tactic. They are happy to send the long disc, even if it's a bit speculative, because look where Germany are now. They're on their own end zone line facing a Great Britain zone.
Oh, and there comes a bit of a lack of focus from Louise Hoffman.
It's a tactic that's working for them going upwind. Send that deep disc, put the pressure on. They've got a lot of faith in this defence.
And this would be such a valuable break to get, Tom. Currently the Germans up 3 breaks clear of Great Britain right now. Crucial point. Hay going up line. Hurst lofts it, but it's far too far.
Yeah, Megan Hurst disc doing what all of the discs into that corner of the end zone are done. Just, if they lose the edge against the wind, they do not hang around, they just get blown across the end zone. Nothing Becky Hay could do other than watch it.
Yeah, the lefty roll curve backhand. Generally, we've seen lefties fare quite well this side of the pitch, but unfortunately that time, as you say, the edge just too much. So Germany once again against this GB zone, doing a great job of just slowing down the movement. The handler's happy to throw lots and lots of passes. Be interesting to see the stats at the end of this point.
They transitioned to a one-on-one. I think they looked better when they were in a zone, but that's clearly the tactic they've called, and they've moved as a team.
Harms pops up the line, but too far for the reach of Kristin Hess. Will we see another huck from Great Britain to try and play that field position game once more? See Clough moving towards the disc. Yes, back in play should be marked by Louise Hoffmann. As we see German throw their own zone back on. Big disc. Haig in the end zone. Can she get it? No, Kraft better position and better height. Oh, a hand block, but not quite enough for Haig to keep the disc out of the hand of Katharina Mulder.
That combination of Clough and Haig as the target seems to be a popular one for Great Britain. Almost got the hand block on the line again.
Well, we spoke about Hurst and Clough having come out of the Brighton scene. So too does Becky Haig, playing with Clough for such a long time. Solid teammates, know each other very well. So Sturt laying out, but can't take the disc away from Harms. But Clough staying close to her mark allows the disc to just bobble over the top. Intended target, Kristin Hess.
Yeah, Kristin Hess, nothing she could do there. That disc was coming in very fast.
Crashes into the zone. Clough to Hurst. Nice big backhand fake. Opens up the cup. Big ripping backhand from Phil Sturt, but again it gets caught by the wind and taken into the sand. This is knackering play style from GB.
Well, they seem very happy to use their throwers into the wind. It's such a difficult breeze to deal with. Roaring in off the Atlantic over to our right, and a timeout called by Great Britain.
Yeah, it's becoming a very scrappy point indeed. I'm wondering if Brian, our stats man, might have any stats for us as to how many passes we've seen in this absolute grinder of a point.
So Germany have had 25 passes and 3 turnovers, and Great Britain have had 12 passes and 4 turnovers. And that's kind of reflected with what we were saying. Great Britain taking less passes before they jam it up the field, and the Germans really trying to work it, but it's not really connecting, and they just, like they say, the conditions are tough out there.
But smart play from the Great Britain zone. I mean, Germans have the wind at their backs. Perhaps we might see them pull up a called play with a deep shot in this point, Tom. That's what my money would be on anyway.
You can hear the talk in the huddle.
Both sides looking very serious. And looking at the previous results for both of these teams thus far in the Master Women's Division, GB are coming off of 2 wins against the Danes and Currier Island, but suffered 2 both universe point defeats to both the Spanish and the Swedes. I caught the tail end of the game against Sweden. Such a good game to watch. Wonder if anyone perhaps put that on social media later. As for the Germans, they too dispatched Currier Island without too much trouble. They lost to the Danes and the Spanish though, and again lost to the Swedes, but by a much higher scoreline, 9-4 the result in that game. So GB would perhaps on the results previously, Tom, be considered favourites here, but the Germans seem to have them backed up against a wall.
It's just all about the wind. Which team can deal with the conditions that they face better? Great Britain seem to have got a set of tactics that are designed to make the most of how difficult it is to throw out there, but they've really struggled to put in that final pass.
So we see now a zone again once more from GB, 3-person cup.
Look at the space on the far side of the field, Hannah. You can't underestimate how difficult a throw it is to hit Kirsten Hess on that far corner.
No, you cannot, but Katharina Mulder finds a hole in the cup, puts it centre field to Harms. Oh, a risky biscuit there. Can Harms come down with it? No, safely into the hands of Elisa Clough. Weddle to Haig, finds Clough, has Sturt available deep, but Sturt comes under, tumbles to the ground. Valiant bid, but not to be.
Sturt had done so much work there. She'd gone deep, she'd come back underneath, and the disc from Clough just wasn't quite up off the sand enough. Harms goes and lays horizontal.
Very tight mark there from Haig on Mulder. Great effort. So the long point continues. Hurst picking up the disc. Nice spread of players from Great Britain. Germany trying to force the red-shirted players towards the weak side of the pitch. Wind now coming slightly diagonally. Near side right to far side left on your screens. Hurst into Haig. Ooh. Has another second look at that. Weddle looking for Clough. Squeezing themselves into that far side and finds Sturt for the upwind. Great Britain.
A whole team involved in that point. Sturt timing her powerful cut from the back corner to perfection. Clough, no mistake with the pass into her chest this time.
Not the most comfortable offense as we got closer and closer to that end zone. Germans doing a fantastic job of just squeezing Great Britain into that small marginal zone up there, but well played.
And Cheska Tyler-Weddle, one of the key people developing the sport of ultimate in the UK, heavily involved in the development programs and schools programs that are running here with the UKU, and also combining playing duties with mothering duties. Little boy was playing in the sand on the sideline earlier, and great to see having fun as a family.
Yes, there's been some great honourable mentions to the tiny human supporters in their adorable red jerseys or various colours. Lots of happy parents. And so GB screaming down, they really need a break for their D-line here, and there's an execution error from the Germans.
If the GB can punch this in, that'll be themselves getting back into the game. Be the first break against the German offense.
Forward with the disc. Looks for Weist around. It's going to sail too high, but there is Liza Bowen, layout score and a break for Great Britain.
There was 3 options on that far side. Great Britain really playing as a team. Bowen was not the target, but she was aware and cut hard to that break side.
Yeah, that's what you get when you break the mark, even if it goes awry. All of your downfield options have that extra step. Great composure from Bowen, taking the clap catch firmly.
It was impressive stuff. Bowen, see, before I did so much of the commentary, I used to take a lot of photographs. And there was a feature on my photography website where people could vote for their favourite photograph. And Liza Bowen is one of the favourite photographs on my website.
So describe this photo to us,
Well,
Tom.
it doesn't include any of her face or body.
Doesn't include any of her face or her body?
No. If you go to my...
so it doesn't have her in it?
No, it does. It does have in it.
Well, if it has neither her face nor her body, is it just the back of her head?
It's basically 2 people wearing the Thundering Herd skorts. And so it's a pair of legs and skorts. But yeah,
I think that's part of her body.
Oh, well, yeah, okay.
That is physically part of her body. I was going to say, if it has no part of her body in the photo, she's not in the photo.
Agreed.
But anyways, an out-of-bounds ball for the Germans. There's lots of herd players actually wandering around this beach tournament. Clearly a strong crossover, myself included. I'm on that roster this year.
Forcing to the downwind side. So kind of a straight-up force to block that deep shot from Becky Haig.
So Great Britain opportunity to take a second break. Larsa.
And then Haig taking away the dump here.
Vocal. Eyes upfield, but swings round to Larsa. Finish it to Schmanz. Nice central channel. Reach for the stars, but not going to be a score.
You have to say, the way the Germans run around this GB zone, it's a really quite a tight zone, but the way they use their fakes to open up the space and move the disc across in these conditions is really impressive. That final disc just could not quite connect. Jennifer Kurlischitz. Terrible pronunciation, apologies.
Kurlix.
Kurlix. She's 7 goals for this German team so far this tournament. Couldn't make it 8.
Well, perhaps later on. Nice and round from Haig, reaching arm. Hurst back to Haig. Lots of clustering upfield from Great Britain. Schmanz tips the disc into the ground. Larsa. GB taking a little time to transition into the playing defense. And a bit of a miscue there. Larsa just throwing into Haig. Seaborn's available up line, but Balsius only has eyes for Hurst until Seaborn comes under. Duedo. Balsius available upfield. Can she run it down? She's going to have to bid. She does. One-handed reaching grab. Lovely stuff from the number 3 for Great Britain. Has a reset available in Haig. Pops it up. Nice dish to Seaborn. She's going to need an option backfield soon, or she's going to be forced to punt it. There's a hammer. Puts it up, but no one gets underneath it. Good high stall option.
You see the frustration from Steph Balsis, having done all of that work to run the length of the field and collect that grab. The rest of the team just ran out of energy on her, could not make a good cut.
Just really needed a reset. There wasn't really anyone helping out Seaborn there. Everyone just trying to be a hero in the end zone. As we see Schmanz pop back to Larsa, fakes the deep shot, but doesn't really have any players downfield. Nice inside break from Krumnov. Hukel into the reach of Krumnov. She's going to put it up. It's going to fall miles too short.
I think she was trying to throw that disc high and let it carry across the field, but with the wind, she's throwing basically straight down the wind, and with the back of the disc down, the wind just pushing it to the sand.
So an error from Germany gives Great Britain an opportunity for another break. They've already got one, but they'll need a few more if they've got a hope of winning this game. Big shot goes up. Seaborn's there, but disc catches the wind and sails into the sand.
You can see that this is the GB are comfortable doing this, letting Becky Haig and the other big handlers open up the shoulders and send it deep, even upwind, because they know that their defense is had an impact. They've managed to take the disc off. Not enough to have the lead of this game, but you see Becky Haig marshalling the troops now, telling Steph Balsis where to line up. If they can take the disc off, the Germans up at this end of the field, it could be another crucial moment. Trying to stop that deep shot.
Lovely play around the side from the Germans, breaking the mark instantly. Bish, bash, bosh. Nice snag there from Werkel. Schmanz upfield in acres of room. Seaborn forcing. It's an ambitious put and doesn't come off.
Webke Schwams has run and run and run throughout this game, but that shot into the end zone was not the choice. But at least Germany have done to Great Britain exactly what Great Britain have been doing to Germany, which is send the disc all the way back down the full length of the field, and now they've got a job to do.
See Hurst there bringing the disc back into play. Recently awarded tenure at Sussex University, so congratulations to her. See if she can come away with some gold. So it's an error from Seaborn. Can she redeem it? No, she cannot. Wind seemed to hold it, just taunting in front of her. Lasser picking up the disc. Fakes the inside. Finds Kuliks around. Three handers back, happy to pop it back as Verkel pops it in, but a little bit too blady.
It's a shame that the Germans are looking way more comfortable on the disc than Great Britain have. Great Britain can throw the deep shots and put on big defense, but they've not looked as comfortable as consistently as the Germans have.
Hurst looking confused as to which option to take. She's going to have to launch it out into the space for Weddle. Has bolted upfield. Seaborn cutting deep and then under. Central field position. This is good for miscommunication. Just too far in front of Weddle there.
Just shows how tough that forehand, basically into the teeth of the wind, to get the angle right so that it sits, it doesn't blow over the head of the receiver. It's very, very tough. Not quite measuring it correctly there. Great Britain just giving a gift of it down the line pass to Schmanz, who was waiting. Now a turnover.
And there we see an unforced error from the Germans. Not been many of those on big short passes, but what a run-through block from Jennifer Kuliks. Lasser doesn't lash it deep yet, but it may come. No, finds Schmanz, who pops it up, and that's a nice bit of up-the-line play.
You have to say the Germans deserved that point. They fought hard. They kept coming back. They kept moving the disc around. Schmanz involved heavily. Her getting herself free.
But D-line for Great Britain must be disappointed. Many squandered opportunities during that point. Germany sat pretty, currently 2 points free in terms of breaks. They lead this game 7-5, and that's the half time.
Well, it's also the time cap. So it'll be.
Oh, no, we had our timed half time, wouldn't we?
It's a game to 8.
I could honestly, Tom, I could watch this game for another 45 minutes.
So there's supposed to be a timed half at 25 minutes, but it's one of the areas of this tournament probably needs to have a word with the captains about, because so few of the captains have actually used that, and the volunteers don't seem to have enforced it at all. So this game has not had a half.
And of course, if it had, we'd be seeing the Germans go downwind on offense rather than upwind on defense. But not a call for us to make or get involved with.
Well, it perhaps has had a half, but the positions would have stayed the same. But either way, oh, that's a miscommunication straight away from Great Britain.
First opportunity for the Germans to take the game here. But lots of pressure from the fall of Alexandra Meisner. She's going to call an injury sub here. Took a bit of a tumble. She'll be replaced by Katja Ulbrich. Another very Germanic sounding surname for this Great Britain squad.
Meisner did everything she could to lay herself at that disc. Didn't get the touch, didn't really get that close to it, but sometimes that's all you need. Get in the eye line of the offensive player. Couldn't make the catch.
So Ford will need to tap the disc in. Well, tap play back live, replacing Meisner. She'll be marked by Kristen Hesse. Oh no, German zone. Ripping shot from Ford into Ulbrich. Finds Bowen. To Clough. Back to Ford, far sideline. Ford puts it up into the mixer and Cruz underneath it. Score now 7-6 to Germany. They'll have the win behind them. GB's D-line, what can they bring out to show to bring this one to Universe?
It's a tight game, but you've got to fancy the Germans here to come down Great Britain have only managed to break Germany once, and Germans have broken Great Britain 3 times. So Katja Ulbrecht there, actually based out of London, and I played on her Copa de Crimbo team this year.
That extremely world-famous tournament, Copa de Crimbo.
World famous. Around Christmas time in the Nottingham area, it is absolutely world famous.
Is that a plug for your own tournament there, Tom?
Technically it's Steve's tournament, but I do the DJing.
And so Great Britain versus Germany. The Germans on offense. Wurkel. Central field position. What is Sauer going to do with it? She's going to launch it. Schmans! And that's a great layout bid pressure from Philippa Sturt, just spooking the offender.
Late in the game, that sort of burst of energy from Sturt.
Well, a crossfitter, lots of explosive power in those legs.
I was going to say, nobody trains quite as hard as she does in the gym every single morning at the CrossFit.
Clough fakes the deep shot. Going to need an option under soon. She's going to put it big, it's going to sail, but no one underneath it. No one really able to get free under. Great defense by the Germans there.
It's tiring. I think Clough looking for some sort of movement in the end zone, but getting yourself running across this sand takes such a lot of effort.
Oh, and she was very far away to be putting a disc into the end zone with this wind. So we see Schmans, good switching from Great Britain there. Person coverage. Don't seem to have spotted Wurkel yet with nobody in her area, although Hurst is about to pick her up. Schmans looking desperately for options, finds one upfield. That's nice work there from Kurlix. But a D, another layout bid for Great Britain. Megan Hurst with the block on Wurkel.
This Masters women's side from Great Britain absolutely fighting in this crucial point. If Germany scores the end of the game, Great Britain score upwind, and they will be coming downwind at Universe Point with a massive advantage.
So Haig has Clough going deep. She's going to rip it immediately, but that's straight into the open palms of Schmans.
And again, Schmans just reading the game. I mean, it's all right, it's one thing reading the game, but it's another thing always being in the right spot.
It was an interesting, to be honest, at no point did Clough look particularly free.
Oh, definitely not free, but again, Great Britain have been happy to throw that disc and take the speculation, because the...
We've got blown coverage downfield, but fortunately Kurlix didn't spot it for, well, I say fortunately, only for Great Britain. Schmans, though, unable to reel in a spicy pass there. Oh, great defensive effort from Stephanie Sauer, racing past Elisa Clough. That disc is going to sail out of bounds. Oh, actually, nearly there. Valiant effort from Megan Hurst.
Yeah, Megan Hurst, one of the coaches of the Great Britain mixed side, the under-24s in 2015, alongside our own Felix Shardlow.
Oh, she's been coaching for a very long time. I myself had been graced by the coaching presence of Meg Hurst many moons ago. A player with buckets of experience. Look. Oh, sharp fake there from Maria Carres. Sauer looks upfield.
That's a pinpoint disc.
Kurlix looking one for options. Nice handler marking. Sauer there has a player free. Is that game and they've reaching ripping grab. Claudia Wurkel finishing out this game. A win for the Germans. Commiserations to GB, but they just had it the whole time, did the Germans. 3 breaks versus GB's 2. Handled the win so much better. What a result.
Justice done in the end. I think the Germans had the better of Great Britain all the way through that game. Their 3 breaks, the difference between these two sides, and their consistency against the wind, their ability to play their game, multiple passes, steady handling, and punching it in the end zone. They've really shown what a classy outfit they are.
classy indeed. Another nail-biting universe point loss for Great Britain, though. That's got to be a hard pill to swallow.
It'll be tough for them. We would like to say a big thank you to VC Ultimate and Discraft, two of our key sponsors, for the all the support they give to the World Flying Disc Federation.
Yes, indeed, and you'll see them on the lovely boards around our arena field. Stay tuned with us. We're going to bring you some more of the Grandmaster men's division. That's going to be our good colleague Benji Rees and Rachel Toshnerova. They'll be bringing you the action. I think we have Great Britain, but I can't see the other team who will be facing up against them. They've not yet arrived for their warm-up, but stay tuned with us. We'll be bringing you more action for the rest of this afternoon. My name is Hannah Pendlebury. I've been joined this beautiful sunny day by Tom Stiles. We'll catch you again very soon.
We all good? Yeah. Whoa, shots fired, Mike Palmer. There is someone on the one of the players on the Portuguese mixed masters team is married to the other Mike Palmer. So I was like, what's going on here? You didn't tell me.
Is there 3?
No. No, this Mike Palmer.
This Mike Palmer. Okay. And so. Okay.
So there are two Mike Palmers.
And then there's Justin. He's doing the EBUC live.
Thanks. Welcome back to coverage of EBUC 2019 here on the beach of the Praia da Rocha, Portimao, Portugal. Benji Rees alongside Rahel Toshnarova, bringing you just normal Grandmasters action. Nice layout bid there. That is pretty great. From a finish, number 99, Rod dumps it back. Ruhiainen just tries to squeeze it through, can't quite do it. GB going to get their first chance with the disc here. Not a lot developing. Cut comes towards the middle. That's a fantastic poach block there from number 77, Jani Putila. Really good recognition there. Saw what was going on. And now the inside break. Lovely stuff from the Finns. Ruhiainen with the goal that time. 1-0 to the Finns here. How are you doing, Rahel? That was a pretty fast start to this game.
I did not expect such quick movement and such quick play to start with. I mean, what a quick